Okay, so now that our shirt has batched for 24 hours, we're going to rinse it out. First, we're going to fill up this bucket with some hot water and some Blue Dawn dish soap. You can use any dish soap, but I use Blue Dawn. We're going to put this bucket aside, and we're going to start rinsing with some cold water. Be sure to start with this white area to get all the soda ash out of here first, so that once you start hitting the color and the color bleeds off into it, it won't dye it. If that soda ash is still in that white area, it can dye when this color starts to bleed into it. So be sure to get all of that soda ash out of there first. It's usually the first thing to rinse out, so just kind of give it a good rinse and you should be good. So go back and forth over all of it. The color is going to get lighter and lighter as you rinse, so just continue to rinse. This could take quite a few minutes. So just rinse until it's lighter. It's not going to get completely light, but it'll get pretty light. So I'm going to flip it over, get this other side pretty good. And you see that spot where some dye had touched it while we were dyeing it. A lot of it has kind of rinsed out, but not all of it, but it's not going to be noticeable, hopefully. And then this little bit of black right here kind of bled over from the rest of the shirt, but it should be fine. There's not really a whole lot, so as long as you don't get too much, a little bit of bleed is okay. It's going to give kind of a shadowy look to it, so it'll be fine. So continue rinsing. We're moving to hot water at this point, I believe. So we're going to rinse a little bit with some hot water, get some more of that color out, and then we're going to squeeze it and start to pull these rubber bands off. So be a little careful, because the rubber bands will fling some liquid as you're doing this. So if you're in an area where you don't want dye to get all over, just be a little conscious of what you're doing and be careful of pulling the rubber bands off. These ones around the soapy area gets a little tough too because of the soap that's here. But you'll want to be quick while doing this too, because you can see how the white is turning purple. If that sits there for too long, it will dye. So just be sure to get this out as quick as possible. Don't rush yourself, because you don't want to get ahead of yourself and kind of mess up. Just go as quick as you're able to. Once it's open, start rinsing that white area first. Try to get all those areas where the dye got into it while we're taking the rubber bands off. Just rinse and rinse and rinse. Rinse with some cold water right here at this point. I go back and forth between cold and hot. Cold water, so if you rinse with hot water and get some of the dye gets in an area where the soda ash is, the hot water, the soda ash, and the dye can dye that spot. So I usually rinse with cold water to make sure all of the soda ash is rinsed out. But more dye comes out with hot water, so the hot water helps release more. So going back and forth between the two helps out a bit. So I usually start off with cold, and then I go over to the hot. So once I'm comfortable, all the soda ash is out, then I'm going to move over to the hot water. I believe I have hot water at this point now. So we're going to go over, make sure to get all of this dye out. I think I spent about 15 to 20 minutes total doing this, so I sped it up just to kind of help out, just so that you're not sitting here watching me rinse and rinse and rinse. So when you squeeze, try not to squeeze that color into the white. If you squeeze too much of it into it, it'll dye it. So you see how I leave a little bit in there. So I'm going to rinse the rest of it out. I've got it back on hot water at this point, and we're going to give it the last rinse. We're going to make sure to try to rinse as much of this hot water out here, or as much of the dye color out at this point here. So I'm going to pull the white away from the rest of it again so that it doesn't transfer, because that back of the shirt is purple. So if it just sits against that white area, it's going to dye it. So we're going to put it in here, let it sit for about 20 minutes. Okay, so now that we've sat here for 20 minutes, we're going to rinse out this excess soap. The extra suds is too much for the machine, so you do not want to put all of this into your washing machine. It's not good for it. It has trouble draining it. So you're going to want to rinse out some of this extra suds. Don't rinse all of the soap out, but try to get most of it out. Put it in your bucket. We're going to take it over to the washing machine and throw it in with our other dyes. I have an old towel in there too. That old towel helps catch some of the dye in case we didn't rinse all of it out. And then we're going to put regular laundry detergent into the dispenser right here. And then we're going to set it just like normal, except I'm going to put on an extra rinse. So we're going to let that run. And once it's finished, we're going to put everything in the dryer. You can air dry if you prefer to air dry at this point. You can dry on hot if you like. If you would like to, so the best way to dry to preserve the fabric here is to tumble dry on low heat. And so what I'm going to do is I don't have just a low heat setting. I have to put it on timed. So I'm going to set it to 1 hour, and I'm going to put it on the lowest setting possible, and then I'm going to run it. This has been Nate with Dye for Life. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave a comment, and I'll get back with you with an answer. Be sure to click like and subscribe for more videos. Thank you for watching.